Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Unit 10, Simple Past Statements with Regular Verbs. Dear students, in this unit we'll practice about making simple past statements, okay, and using irregular verbs. Let's look at the objectives of this unit. After completing this unit, you will be able to have knowledge about forming simple past statements and identify past tense verb in a sentence. Let's look at the first sentence. I played a computer game. I didn't play chess. So the first statement, you can see I played a computer game. I didn't play chess. Let's look at another statement. You studied math. You didn't study English. He watched a talk show. He didn't watch the news. She wanted to stay home. She didn't want to go out. We cooked Italian food. We didn't cook Chinese food. They chatted online. They didn't chat very long. So if you look in all these statements, I played a computer game. You studied math. He watched a talk show. She wanted to stay home. We cooked Italian food. They chatted online. Okay, so you can see that we make past by adding ed. So for example, if you say I play, or if you say I play computer game, I play computer game. So what do you think? This is present, simple present statement, or past? So I play computer game. So how we will decide? We will look at the verb. Okay, this verb is in simple present form. I play computer game. This shows your habit. Okay, and this is in simple present. I play computer game. So this is a simple present statement. But if we add in this word play, if we add ed, okay, I played a computer game, it shows past, a past event. I played a computer game, maybe this morning, okay, or yesterday. I played a computer game. You studied math. Again, okay, so a study is the simple present form of the verb. If we remove I with IED, if we remove I, it becomes studied. Okay, and this is simple past. You studied math. He watched a talk show. Here we added ed. She wanted to stay home. We cooked Italian food. They chatted online. So all these highlighted, ed, ted, it shows simple past. But remember, when we make negative, okay, I didn't play chess. So the past of do is did. Okay, and if you make negative, that means did plus not, it becomes didn't. Okay, I didn't play chess. Okay, so this shows negative, but the verb will be in the present form, first form. I didn't play chess. You didn't study. He didn't watch. She didn't want. We didn't cook. They didn't chat. Okay, so all these verb, you can see that they are in the present form. There is no change in it. Okay, except the negative. The negative will have the past form. I didn't, you didn't, he didn't, she didn't. Okay, so now let's move on to the next part of this unit. Now we will look at the past tense ending that we just practiced. Okay, so watch, this is simple present. This will change to watched. Okay, invite, invited, play, played, study, studied, chat, chatted. Okay, This is all for today. Hope you have got an idea how to make simple past verb, okay, and you will be able to recognize the verb whether it is simple past or it is present. Okay, hope you would have enjoyed your lesson. This is all for today. See you in the next
Hello
class.
everyone, my name is Beatrice, and in this tutorial I'm going to explain past simple, present perfect, and the difference between them, that is, how to combine both of them. The contents are going to follow this order. First, we're going to see past simple affirmative, then past simple negative and interrogative, and the last section we're going to see about past simple is time expressions that go with past simple, and then is a turn for present perfect, time expressions that go with it, and finally the difference between past simple and present perfect. After the theory is presented, I'm going to share with you some interesting links for practicing that theory. And at the end of the PowerPoint presentation, you will find some bibliography. So let's start with past simple affirmative. We have two possibilities. If the verb is regular, we just add ed to the verb. For example, from play, the past simple is played. I played football last weekend. If the verb is irregular, we have to learn by heart the second column of irregular verbs. For example, the past simple form of break is broke. I broke my arm 3 days ago when I was playing basketball. Be careful because there are some spelling rules you have to follow in order to add ed. The verbs ending in e, we have to add just a d. From smile, we add a d, smiled. If the verb ends in y, we have to take into account 2 ways of forming the past simple form. If there is a vowel before the y, we add ed. Stay, stayed. If there is a consonant before the y, we have to change the y by I and then add ed. From study, we obtain studied. And the third point to take into account is that monosyllables ending in consonant plus vowel plus consonant, they double last consonant. For example, stop is monosyllable and it finishes in consonant T, vowel O, and consonant the P. So when we add ed, we double the last consonant, in that case the P. Past simple negative. The sentence structure for negative past simple form is the following one. First, we put subject, then didn't or did not if you prefer the non-abbreviating form, and then the verb, but be careful because it goes in the base form, and then other objects you can find in a sentence. For example, he didn't know the difference between past simple and present perfect. The past simple interrogative. Did plus subject plus verb in base form plus object. And the answers, if the answer is positive, yes plus subject plus did. And if the answer is negative, no plus subject plus didn't. For example, did you go to Madrid last year? No, I didn't. I went to Barcelona. If the answer would be positive, we'd say, yes, I did. The time expressions we can find with past simple are ago, that means hace in Spanish. I went to London 2 years ago. Fui a Londres hace 2 años. Last plus time, el pasado o la pasada. I was ill last week. Estuve enfermo la semana pasada. O enferma. Yesterday, ayer. She didn't work yesterday. Ella no trabajó ayer. The day before yesterday, anteayer. My uncle gave me a present the day before yesterday. Mi tío me dio un regalo anteayer. Let's talk about the present perfect. The affirmative follow the following order. Subject plus have or has plus past participle plus objects. We form the past participle in the following way. The regular verbs. In regular verbs, we have to add ed. Finished, finished. In this case, we have to follow the same rules as past simple. And with irregular verbs, we have to learn by heart the third column. For example, from eat, we obtain eaten. An example would be, I have sent my homework recently. He enviado mi trabajo recientemente. The negative form, subject plus haven't or hasn't. Has or hasn't go with third person. Plus past participle plus objects. For example, he hasn't done his homework yet. Él no ha hecho los deberes todavía. And the interrogative, have or has, plus subject, plus past participle, plus objects. And the answers, if they are affirmative, yes, plus subject, plus have or has. And if they are negative, no, plus subject, plus haven't or hasn't. For example, has she ever gone to Paris? Yes, she has. ¿Ha ido ella alguna vez a París? Sí. Which time expressions go with present perfect? Well, already, that means ya in Spanish. I have already finished my homework. Ya he acabado mis deberes. Yet, todavía in negatives, and ya in interrogatives. Maria or Mariah hasn't come back yet. María no ha vuelto todavía. Just, that means acabar de. I have just prepared the meal, so we can have dinner. Acabo de preparar la comida, así que podemos comer. Podemos cenar. Ever, alguna vez, in interrogatives, and nunca in negatives. Have you ever been in Russia? ¿Has estado alguna vez en Rusia? For, that means desde hace or durante plus period of time. John has lived in Praga for 4 years. John ha vivido en Praga durante 4 años. Since, that means desde plus an exact date. John has lived in Praga since 2009. John ha vivido en Praga desde 2009. And now the difference between past simple and present perfect. Past simple is used with specific past actions. Anna and Julia married last year in Los Angeles. We know when the action took place last year, right? Ana y Julia se casaron el año pasado en Los Ángeles. And present perfect. Actions beginning in the past, but still happening in the present. I have lived here since 2005. He vivido aquí desde 2005. That means that now I still live here. And the second use of present perfect is with past actions, but we don't know when they happened. They've been to Málaga. Ellos han estado en Málaga. We don't know when it happened, but we know it is past. And now you have here some interesting links for practicing all we have seen. I'm going to leave all the links in the description of this video, right? And finally, some bibliography. And nothing else. Thank you for your attention and see you soon.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Book 2, Unit 5, Be Born with Simple Past, Review and Time Expressions. Dear students, in this unit we'll practice about using simple past with be born, and we will use time expressions. Let's look at the objectives of this unit. So after the completion of this unit, the students will be able to have knowledge of using be born with simple past, identify time expressions in a sentence. So here we'll be using be born with simple past, like where were you born? You remember were is the past of, you remember? Were is the remember of are. Okay, in simple present we use are, but in past we use were. So where were you born? Okay, I was born in Sao Paulo. Okay, I was born in Sao Paulo, and was is the past of is. Okay, so I was born in Sao Paulo. Let's look at another example. And I wasn't born in Aba. Now where were your parents born? Okay, where were your parents born? They were born in Saudi Arabia. Okay, they weren't born in the US. Okay, weren't is the contraction of were not. Okay, were not we write as weren't. So they weren't born in the US. Did you live there for a long time? Okay, yes, I did. I lived there for 6 years. Okay, so this shows the time expression, how long. Okay, do you live there? Did you live there for a long time? Okay, this long time shows duration or time, so this we use for time expression. Yes, I did. I lived there for 6 years. No, I didn't live there long. Okay, let's move on to the next part of this unit. Now, how long did you live in Sao Paulo? Okay, so these are all how long. This all shows time expression. How long did you live in Sao Paulo? We lived there until I was 6. Okay, from 1986 to 1992. Okay, so this shows the time expression. We didn't leave until 1992, then we came to US. Did she move here last year? Okay, yes, she did. She moved in May. So last year it shows time expression. Did she move here last year? Yes, she did. She moved in May. No, she didn't. She moved in 2002. When did they come here? They came here about 3 years ago. Okay, all these shows the time expression. They came when he was 19. Okay, when he was 19. Let's move to the next part of this unit, and now we'll talk about determiners. Do you know what's a determiner? Okay, determiner is something that you determine. Okay, that shows your willpower. Now, after completion of this unit, you'll be able to have knowledge of using determiners in general situation. Okay, and have knowledge of using determiners in specific situation. Okay, something that determines, that shows, that finds out. Okay, so have knowledge of using determiners in specific situation. So we will use determiner in general situation and determiner in a specific situation. Let's look at the examples, then it would be clear to you. Now, for general, we say all children learn a language. Okay, all children learn a language. Most Canadians need French. Some students take Spanish. A few people are good at Latin. No students like exam. So all these phrases, all, most, some, a few, okay, no, this determines, this shows. Okay, so all children learn a language. Most Canadians need French. Some students take Spanish. A few people are good at Latin. No students like exams. Okay, so these are determiners that show how many. Okay, but there's an exception. A lot of people speak English well. Okay, let's look at the specific examples. Okay, all of the children in my town take English. Most of the people in my office know French. Some of the students in my class take Greek. A few of my classmates got A's. None of my friends failed the exam. Okay, so here you can see we are using the determiners. Here it's general, all children, that means all around the world. Okay, but here we are talking about specific, all the children in my town. Okay, I'm talking about the children in my town. Most Canadians need French. Okay, so here it talks about all Canadians, but most of the people in my office. Okay, like I'm talking about the people in my office. Some students take Spanish. Okay, but some of the students in my class, okay, they take Greek. So this is specific. A few people are good at Latin. A few of my classmates, okay, a few people, this is general idea or general thing, but a few of my classmates means I'm talking about my classmates. None, no students like exam, none of my friends. Okay, and a lot of the people in this city speak English. Okay, so hope you would have enjoyed your lesson. Okay, you found this stuff interesting, and you have really built up your knowledge about the grammar that we are doing. This is all for today. Have a nice day. See you in the next class.
Have a quick review of the past tenses. Here we have 4 very similar example sentences, each using a different past tense. This should allow us to be able to look at the differences in usage between these tenses. First example, when I arrived, John cooked. When I arrived, John was cooking. When I arrived, John had cooked. When I arrived, John had been cooking. In the first example, when I arrived, John cooked. If we look at John cooked, this is the past simple. The structure is quite simply the subject plus verb in the past tense. The past tense verb is usually just formed by adding ed to the end of the base form. However, again, there are many irregular verbs, such as go would change to went, be to was or were, know to knew. Again, there are no rules for this, and they just have to be learnt individually. The past tense here, as we can see, is used for completed past actions. I arrived in the past, and John cooked in the past. They give us the order in which past events happen. I arrived first, and then John cooked. I woke up, and then I got up. I had a shower, I had breakfast, and went to work. So the past simple is very useful for ordering actions. The second example sentence, when I arrived, John was cooking. John was cooking is in the past continuous tense. Here the structure is subject, John, the verb to be in the past tense, which is was or were, plus the verb with an ing at the end. The past continuous tense is used to describe an action that was in progress at a specific past time. Here, in the example sentence, the cooking was in progress at the time I arrived. This differs from the first example sentence, where I arrived first and then John cooked. In this example, the cooking had already started and was still in progress at the time I arrived. In the third example, when I arrived, John had cooked. John had cooked is the past perfect tense. This has the structure subject, here John, plus had, plus the past participle, here cooked. Past perfect is used to express the past in the past. In other words, an action that happened before another past action. When I arrived, John had cooked. I arrived in the past, and I want to say what happened before that past time. So I have to use the perfect. The fourth example sentence, when I arrived, John had been cooking. This is using the past perfect continuous tense. John had been cooking. This has the structure subject, John, auxiliary verb had, another auxiliary verb been, and then the verb plus ing. The past perfect continuous tense is used to express the duration or continuity of a longer action in the past before another past action. As we can see here, when I arrived, John had been cooking. The cooking had continued for a period of time before I arrived. It doesn't express whether the cooking is still continuing or completed. So we look at the 4 sentences together. Again, when I arrived, John cooked. I arrived first, then John cooked. When I arrived, John was cooking. The cooking was actually in progress at the time I arrived. When I arrived, John had cooked. The cooking had finished before I arrived. And when I arrived, John had been cooking expresses a longer action that had been happening up until the time I arrived.